Amazing discovery. Forgotten boy from the orphanage revealed in family portrait after 15 years. Sarah Thompson felt worn out the minute she walked through the door of her grandmother's house, the smell of old wood and worn fabric greeting her. After an exhausting 12-hour shift at the hospital where she assuaged pain and mended wounds, the weight of her responsibilities began to press down on her. It was raining outside, a constant beat that echoed her fatigue, reminding her of the quick calls from work, the paperwork piling up, and her grandmother's ever greater needs. She dropped her bag, shivering as tension twisted in her chest. Was it her imagination, or did the walls whisper expectations she couldn't meet? With a sigh, she climbed to the attic, a sanctuary of forgotten memories. Dust peppers danced in the filter of dim light as her fingers brushed against cardboard boxes filled with remnants of her family's past. She started sorting through them absent-mindedly, every memory stirring something deep inside her, a mix of nostalgia and anxiety. What would she find? An old quilt? A forgotten child's drawing? And then she saw it, a large, faded family portrait, the glossy surface speckled with age. She pulled it down, wiping away layers of dust to reveal the smiling faces, her grandmother, herself as a child, her deceased parents. And next to them, a boy she didn't recognize. A cheeky grin, dirt-smeared cheeks reflecting carefree days, a reminder that their home once welcomed a stranger who needed love. Tommy. The name hit her like a bolt of lightning. She learned of Tommy when she was small, a boy from the nearby orphanage, one who had shared their home during a winter when everything had seemed desperate. But then his memory vanished following an unforeseen crisis in her family, as if he was never there at all. Tension twisted in Sarah's belly as she confronted the echo of her family's past, a past shaped by tragedy and survival. They had opened their home, but when her grandmother fell into a depression, they had to flee. The thought of how easily they had let Tommy go twisted a knot in her heart, another reminder of how her family's choices haunted her dreams. As a nurse, she fought with compassion daily, but could she justify their abandonment? Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now, let's continue. The decision gnawed at her. Should she confront the memories of familial loyalty, the expectations of compassion? With every fleeting thought about Tommy, the sharp pang of guilt twisted deeper. Who was Tommy now? Was he filled with bitterness for being forgotten, sympathetic, or angry? Sarah had only to think of the way some community members still whispered about the orphan problem, each comment hollowing out her resolve. She could feel the disdain gathering like storm clouds, soaking into her skin as she wrestled with the weight of societal judgments impacting the very people she wished to save. Just as she began piecing together his story, a stack of crumpled letters filled with dreams, some crayon drawings from when he was with them, the end of her past collided with the urgency of her future. Guiding herself through the jagged remnants of their life together, Sarah couldn't shake the sensation that digging deeper into Tommy's life might expose her family's flaws and force her to face her own weaknesses. As hope and fear collided, Sarah found herself standing at the precipice of a decision, each thought racing into the next. What would it mean to reach out to Tommy? Could she hold her head high after everything that had been lost? With emotions thickening the air around her, she gathered resolve. She would track Tommy down, confronting the ghosts of yesterday, even if it meant shadowing their tender memories with their recent betrayal. The drive to find him became an urgent fire in her chest, spurned simultaneously by guilt and longing. Just as she knew his name, she could sense him so close, yet a universe apart. Could their confrontation reclaim the lost promise of belonging, or would it only further tear the seams of her family's already fragile fabric? As she prepared to descend the staircase, the rain outside drummed against the windows like a teaser of the storm to come, her heart racing with the weight of rekindling a connection that had been buried too deep for too many years. As Sarah descended the attic stairs, the chill of uncertainty wrapped around her like a fog. Each step echoed a tentative shift in her resolve. She glanced back at the attic door, a threshold between her past and the uncertain pathway ahead. A Pullman had soaked around her long enough. The air was thick with everything unsaid, her heart drumming an urgent rhythm that matched the rain's relentless chorus. With a determined breath, Sarah kicked off her shoes, replaced by the familiar confines of her worn slippers. She retrieved her phone from her bag and hesitated. Searching for Tommy, a boy she hardly remembered, felt like a leap from a cliff's edge into an uncharted abyss. The thought excited her as much as it terrified her. Was her past with him merely a flickering memory, or could it uncover something profound within herself? She opened a web browser and began typing. The soft glow of the screen illuminated her face, shadows dancing in the dim light of the living room. Tommy, she whispered, the name carrying a weight of its own. What was he doing now? Did he go back to the orphanage after they had to move? Or had he forged a life out there, fighting against the odds with the courage she admired? An online search revealed a common name. Frustration knotted her brows. There were countless Tommy Smiths, each with lives unknown to her. Yet, in the swirl of anonymity, nestled within the search results, she caught a glimpse of hope. A community outreach program had been set up for former orphans, a lifeline for those who wanted to reconnect. The idea ignited a flicker of purpose within her. Her heart raced with possibility. This could be her starting point. As she typed in the details, an image of Tommy flickered in her mind. His wide eyes, dirt-streaked cheeks, and innocent laughter that had once echoed through their home. But doubt wormed its way into her thoughts. Was she reaching out to provide closure for herself, or was it for him? Deep down, she feared that maybe she was clinging to the guilt that had been haunting her, embedded in her professional identity as a caregiver. From the depths of her mind, another self emerged, strong, assertive, and unafraid. This version of Sarah had spent countless nights tending to others' pain, exhausting herself in the name of empathy. Still, she grappled with her own unresolved issues. To reach out to Tommy, she realized, was not merely an act of kindness, it was a self-discovery journey. What had his life been like? Did he harbor resentment towards her family? And more importantly, what could they discover together about the fragility of relationships, about kindness and abandonment? With each moment that passed, the fire within grew stronger, propelling her towards action. The rain drummed more violently against the window, mirroring her mounting intensity. She opened the outreach website and began typing. Her fingers danced across the keyboard, adding her information, detailing her search for Tommy, who had once shared her childhood. The hesitation faded, replaced by a burning sense of urgency. Before clicking send, she paused. This was not just a message, it was a bridge, a chance to repair what was broken. What if Tommy had fully moved on? What if he had found happiness without her family? Another wave of dread washed over her, but she felt that the hope of rekindling the connection was worth the risk. As she finally pressed the button, a profound realization washed over her. She wasn't just reaching out to Tommy, she was reaching for a part of herself that had been locked away. The storm outside spiraled into a cacophony of sound, and she welcomed it as the noise of her own inner turmoil. With that push, the ghost of guilt faded momentarily, replaced by a glimmer of newfound empowerment. But could this new Sarah keep that conviction alive? The tension crept back, heart tightening in anticipation. What awaited her on the other side of that click? As she sat back in the chair, breath held, she envisioned the possibilities spinning out like the rain-soaked streets beyond her. Would she find comfort in the confrontation or deeper turmoil brought on by the truth? And just as that question rooted itself in her mind, a notification pinged on her phone, breaking the silence, and with it, a new thread of uncertainty began to weave into the night. The notification's sound was sharp, slicing through the thickness of Sarah's thoughts. Adrenaline surged through her veins as she grabbed the phone, heart racing like a drum roll in anticipation of a grand reveal. Her breath caught in her throat when she saw the screen light up with a headline, "Forgotten Boy from the Orphanage Revealed in Family Portrait After 15 Years." The article thumbnail displayed an image that jolted her thoughts into overdrive. Before she could process the implications, she tapped on the article, feeling her fingers trembling slightly with the mixture of curiosity and anxiety. Each word seemed to resonate with her, drawing her in while simultaneously reminding her of her own unresolved past. The accompanying photo was grainy, the image of a younger Tommy nestled between figures from a happier time, a time that felt forever out of reach. Her heart ached. The revelation stirred not just sadness, but a fierce determination. If this family could treasure the lost significance of a child, why couldn't she? This wasn't merely about her past guilt, it elevated into a fierce need to connect with Tommy, not just for herself, but to preserve the memory the world seemed to forget. The article continued, revealing details about a community gathering intended to honor these lost connections. Local initiatives aimed at reuniting families with their histories were budding in her hometown. Instinctively, Sarah tapped to learn more. Could she participate? Would she have the opportunity to plunge headfirst into a pool of memories, allowing herself to be vulnerable even as her professional instincts battled with her emotional turmoil? As she mulled over the possibilities, doubt seeped in once more. What if he was just an echo of a past she had romanticized? What if she ignited a chasm of hurt that had long been buried? Yet, the other Sarah, this emerging version of herself, whispered a promise. The need for connection was worth the risk. She recognized this moment as not only a pathway to reconnect with Tommy, but a means to reclaim her own scattered pieces. Finding him now could not be driven merely by guilt or nostalgia. It would need to stem from a profound desire for understanding. An internal conflict began to boil within her. This gathering could serve as more than just finding Tommy. It could unfold into a confrontation with everything that shaped her identity as a caregiver and a person. She needed to reconcile her past actions with her present self. Deciding that she couldn't shy away any longer, she shifted her gaze back to her phone, fingers hovering over the keys as she searched the date of the gathering. As she mentally mapped out her plan, she felt a swell of courage mingling with anxiety. This was about more than reconnecting. It was about understanding the tapestry of her life and how it intertwined with Tommy's. "Sarah, it's time to face this," she told herself, a palpable determination settling into her core. Thus, she forged ahead, setting a reminder in her phone for the event. In the pause that followed, she felt slight remorse and fear again creeping back, but it was offset by a firm resolve. She was no longer defined solely by her past guilt. This journey was an act of courage, vital for her transformation. The tension coiled in her stomach as the evening darkened outside. One question clung to her mind, a small seed of worry taking root. What if Tommy wasn't ready to confront his history? Or worse, what if he had blamed her all this time? As shadows deepened around her, an echo of that child lingered. whispering encouragement as she braced for a revelation she couldn't yet name but sensed looming ahead on the horizon. The days slipped by in a blur of anticipation and anxiety. Sarah found herself checking her phone with increasing frequency, as if the mere act could hasten the gathering. Each notification that wasn't related to the event sent a tremor of disappointment through her. She meticulously planned every detail, finessing her wardrobe choice with care, analyzing sentences in her head to determine how she might introduce herself to Tommy. The closer she got to the date, the more layers of her anxiety peeled back to reveal the raw nerve of vulnerability beneath. In the quiet moments before sleep, the memories of her time at the orphanage haunted her. She would curl up in a ball, feeling every regret and every smile, each memory heavy with the weight of absence. Yet amid this emotional turmoil, an idea began to take root. What if her reconnecting with Tommy wasn't just about him? What if it was about rediscovering that part of herself who had cared so deeply, who had wanted only love and acceptance for the children she nurtured? That part of herself had been exhausted, overshadowed by the burdens she carried. As the gathering approached, she unleashed a fierce resolve inside. This was an opportunity to transform her years of guilt into a mission of understanding and connection. The prospect of seeing Tommy, however fraught with potential heartache, ignited something dormant within her, a flicker of hope intertwined with significant purpose. On the morning of the gathering, she woke early, invigorated and anxious in equal measure. She stood before the mirror, scrutinizing her reflection. The woman staring back was no longer merely the caregiver shaped by guilt. She was a seeker ready to confront the ghosts of the past. She couldn't leave the orphanage behind. Parts of it were stitched into her present. As she applied her makeup, she let the realization sink in. This would be more than just a meeting. It was a ceremony of reclamation. The venue was quaint, decorated with subtle reminders of the past. Photographs of children, stories waiting to be told. As she walked through the crowd, snippets of conversation surrounded her, some joyful, others somber. A mix of nerves and exhilaration coursed through her. She was out of her element, feeling like a spectator in a world where memories held tangible weight. Sarah spotted the event coordinator, a friendly-looking woman whose name subtly hinted warmth. "Are you searching for someone in particular?" she asked gently, observing the flush of apprehension that colored Sarah's cheeks. "Tommy," Sarah managed to whisper, the name heavy on her tongue. Who was Tommy now? The boy she had known, or the man he had become? The coordinator nodded knowingly and pointed towards a small group gathered at a rustic table, laughter spilling from them like an inviting melody. Her heart raced as she recognized one figure above the rest. It was Tommy. He looked different, yet familiar, a stranger whose essence both terrified and exhilarated her. Did he remember her? Would he recall moments of solace she had tried to impart in fleeting, frantic days? Swallowing hard, she crossed the distance, each step mindful yet heavy with unspoken fears. Would he perceive her approach with warmth or distrust? As she neared, Sarah gripped the edge of the table to steady herself. "Tommy?" The word escaped her softly, a whisper laced with so many unacknowledged emotions. His head turned, an expression of surprise lighting up his features, then quickly shadowed by uncertainty. What burden did he hold? Did he know she had carried the weight of their shared history all those years? The air crackled with unarticulated tension, each moment stretching into eternity, a moment of truth suspended in the space between them. Tommy's eyes held questions, as if he teetered on the brink of confronting his own past. This was it, the reckoning she had anticipated, yet dreaded. "Who are you?" he finally asked, his voice unsteady, as if he hadn't seen her as she saw him. In that pause, Sarah understood. This was not merely about reconnecting. It was about facing the reflections of their past that neither had been ready to confront. And deep down, she knew the true confrontation had just begun. A flurry of emotions catapulted through Sarah as she stood there, caught in Tommy's gaze. His question hung between them, an echo of the years they had spent apart, years steeped in silence and unshared stories. "Who are you?" What an innocent inquiry, yet it felt like a gut punch. Who was she indeed? She was no longer the idealistic caregiver seeking redemption. She had evolved into someone emboldened by regret and hope, someone ready to reclaim her past. Taking a deep breath, Sarah felt something flicker within. The resolve to confront her own fears began to take precedence. "It's me, Sarah," she managed to reply, aiming for steadiness. "The Sarah who was there when you needed someone to believe in you." The flicker of recognition sparked in Tommy's eyes, but dimmed quickly, swallowed by layers of hesitation. This was not just about remembrance. It was the unveiling of scars neither had faced. She wanted desperately to leap forward into familiarity, to bridge the chasm of their shared history. But could she? The weight of expectation pressed down heavily. Tommy's face contorted as if wrestling with the past. I remember, but it's been so long," he murmured, uncertainty clinging to his words. Sarah's heart ached for him. She sensed the tumult beneath his composed surface, a battle not just to recall the past, but to embrace what it meant now. "Do you ever think about it? Us?" she ventured, and the question lingered dangerously, battling the silence that enveloped them. Her own vulnerability danced precariously. She was exposing an old wound, hoping for his acknowledgement, but fearing his rejection. "What's there to think about?" Tommy's voice grew distant, the boy she remembered slipping further away. "We were kids, Sarah. For you, it was easy to care." His words stung, triggering a defensiveness in her. Was that all he thought? That her connection had been a mere act of service? "It wasn't just about care for me. It was never easy. I genuinely wanted to be there for you. You were not a burden. You were," she faltered, searching for articulation amid raw emotions. "You were the reason I came every day." The revelation sparked a flicker of understanding in his expression, but confusion remained etched on his features. He looked beyond her, as though seeking answers from a time when life had been simpler, but also painful. "I moved on, Sarah. What's done is done." The bleed of disappointment tinged the air. Was this their limit? Would he lock his memories away again, allowing her to slip back into the void from which she might never reclaim him? In that moment, Sarah felt an instinctive push against complacency. Standing firm, she couldn't allow past wounds to dictate their now. Maybe moving on doesn't mean forgetting. Maybe it's about embracing all parts of our story, the good and the bad. She searched his face, desperate for connection, an unyielding thread that might tether them back together. "What are you saying?" he asked slowly, the weight of her words seeming to ripple across the short distance between them. A plan sparked in her mind. If she could ignite just a fraction of the boy's memories, perhaps she could kindle a recognition that could heal them both. "I'm saying we have a chance to change the narrative, to talk about everything, the laughter, the pain, even the regrets, for us both." Sarah could sense a wavering in Tommy, a crack in his defenses. This was the discovery that simmered underneath all those years apart. Their past held not just sorrow, it also contained the potential for understanding, for forgiveness, both for the child she had cared for and for herself. But as she hoped for more, she saw a flicker of doubt dance across his features, threatening to extinguish her newfound resolve. "The past is complicated, Sarah. I'm not the same person you remember." "Neither am I," she replied, her voice firmer. but we can uncover who we are now." Before Tommy could respond, a sudden commotion erupted in the room, drawing attention away from them. Sarah's heart raced as she noticed a group hovering around a board filled with photographs, their excited chatter breaking the fragile moment. It was like fate pulling her towards something vital, an unforeseen line of inquiry about the past they both abandoned. "Let's go see what's happening," she suggested, grasping his arm gently. She needed this. She needed to delve deeper into their shared history, not just with words, but with tangible connections, memories preserved in photographs waiting to be revealed. And in that instant, Sarah realized this encounter was just the beginning of a much larger journey. As they moved toward the crowd, Tommy remained silent, uncertainty shadowing his face, but Sarah felt a flicker of hope. What awaited them in those photographs could lead to more than just memories. It could shape how they each stepped into their own futures together. In unison, they approached the board. What secrets lay hidden among the faces of time? The crowd buzzed around the board, excited voices mingling with the shifting air. But to Sarah, the cacophony faded into a murmur. Her eyes swept over the photographs, each crammed with faces, frozen moments that pulsed with life. She felt the pull of the past intensify. It wasn't just nostalgia, it was the opportunity for clarity, a map laid bare that hinted at uncharted territories of her and Tommy's intertwined histories. "Sarah, look!" Tommy's voice cracked through her reverie, drawing her gaze to a faded photograph pinned near the center. The image was grainy, yet unmistakably vivid. A group of children, smiles bright against a backdrop of the orphanage. Each face bore the weight of stories untold. There, front and center, was a young boy with an unmistakable smile, a glimmer of mischief in his eyes that Sarah recognized from years ago. Tommy stood closer, his face illuminated by a mixture of awe and discomfort. "Is that me?" he breathed, the question tinged with incredulity. "It is," she responded, her heart swelling with a mix of pride and melancholy. "Look how happy you were." The instant recognition sparked a myriad of emotions in Tommy: disbelief, nostalgia, and an intermingling of joy and pain. His memories were awakening, flitting about like moths drawn to a flame. Sarah dared to hope they could rebuild something precious from these fragments of memory. "We were kids, and you were the life of that place," she said softly, taking a step closer, trying to bridge the gap that still hung between them. "You brought laughter into a space that sometimes felt dark. You weren't just surviving, you were thriving." Tommy shook his head, the memories seeming to swirl in conversation with the present. "It felt different back then. I was just a kid." The lines on his forehead deepened, vulnerability flashing across his features. "I didn't know how to be anything else." "But that's the point," Sarah exclaimed, frustration creeping into her tone. "You still had hope and dreams, Tommy. We were all finding our way through that chaos together. You were a source of light, even when it felt like there wasn't any." He stared at her, eyes flickering with an internal battle. "How can you say that? I was just a burden to you." "Not true," she insisted, her determination firm. "Being a burden implies you lacked worth. You gave me strength when I was lost. Can't you see? Our lives were intertwined more than you realize. You matter. You always have." Tommy's gaze fell on the photograph again, fingers grazing the surface lightly, as if seeking to touch the joy of that forgotten moment. "Do you think it's possible to reclaim that joy?" he asked, an unexpected vulnerability lacing his voice. "I believe we can," she replied, a newfound conviction bolstering her confidence. "By acknowledging all parts of our story, the laughter, the pain, the regrets, we can reshape how we view ourselves now." His brow furrowed, hesitance still shadowing him. A soft murmur from behind them drew her attention. A woman nearby was recounting a story about one of the children in the photograph. With each word, Sarah realized they were delving deeper into shared memories. Could she use this moment to encourage Tommy's journey of reconnection? "Do you want to hear more?" she asked, leaning in closer. "What if it's too painful?" He hesitated, the tension in his voice revealing a deep-seated fear. "Pain means there's something worth uncovering," she urged, hoping to ignite the spark of determination she sensed flickering within him. "Let's explore together. Let's face it, as unsettling as it may feel." A moment of silence hung between them, the weight of his past pressing down heavily. Yet something shifted in Tommy's expression, an ember of curiosity ignited by her words. He was reawakening to the possibilities that had lain dormant. "Okay," he murmured, a quiet resolve emerging. "Let's listen." As they turned to the woman, Sarah felt the tide shifting, the conversations around them swirling into something transformative. Could this be the key that opened the door to their shared past? But as they engaged with stories from the past, the lingering threads of uncertainty echoed in Sarah's mind. What if this journey brought forth more than nostalgia? What if buried truths came to light, testing their delicate connection? The moment they began listening felt monumental, but deep inside, Sarah knew that not all discoveries would be welcome, and facing what loomed ahead could either bind them closer together or thrust them apart once more. With anticipation tinged with anxiety, they leaned into the memories, their narratives entwining. What would these revelations unearth about their shared past? What truths remained hidden, waiting to challenge both their identities and aspirations? As the woman shared her stories, each tale intricately layered, Sarah could see the transformations beginning within Tommy. He was gradually shifting, the heaviness of his past lightening as memories unfurled in the presence of familiar faces. A tender smile crept onto his lips in response to laughter echoing through the anecdotes, each one a thread linking them back to their shared childhood. Still, shadows lurked at the edge of Sarah's mind. What if nostalgia warped the stories? She had observed too many people in his situation who returned to their past with rose-colored glasses, only to be blindsided by reality's harshness. Could Tommy emerge from the haze with a renewed sense of self, or would the memories sharpen the latent pain he had buried? "Do you remember this?" A child clad in a tattered red sweater poked his head through a makeshift hole in the fence. The woman gestured animatedly, and Tommy's brow wrinkled, caught in a sudden gale of recollection. "That was you! You were always sneaking around, looking for adventures." An involuntary grin broke out on Tommy's face. "Yeah, I was always trying to find a way out, looking for freedom," he chuckled, but a sudden seriousness clouded his expression. "I wonder if I was ever really free." Sarah's heart ached for him. His words were layered with the complex weight of someone who had spent years concealing fragments of himself. "Freedom is tricky," she replied thoughtfully. "Maybe it's not about where we are, but how we see ourselves." Tommy turned to her, eyebrows raised, intrigued by her perspective. "You think it's possible to change how we see those moments, even the darkest ones?" "Absolutely," she affirmed with earnestness. "What if we approach those shadows not as chains, but as lessons? They defined us, but don't have to dictate who we become." The conversation lent a certain gravity to the air, creating an intimate bubble around them. The crowd swirled, but no external noise penetrated their exchange. It felt sacred, as though they were unearthing shared truths not only for themselves, but for each other. "Tell me about them, the stories you hold back," Tommy requested, voice steady but unsteady at the same time, as if straddling a precipice. It was a call to arms, a challenge to explore the depths of their intertwined existence. With urgency threading through her, Sarah realized she needed to guide him, not just for the journey's sake, but for her own growth as well. "Let's start with what you remember, the good, the bad, even the ugly. Let's reshape this." She reached for his hand, taking a bold step to connect, to signify her solidarity in this exploration. Her heart raced, anxious about how deep the waters could get. What if Tommy's darkest memories engulfed him, and by extension her? Yet, how could she turn away at the brink of such profound potential? Even as they navigated the stories, ripples of doubt fanned out within Sarah. Would their courage lead to something beautifully redemptive, or would it unearth wounds that could unravel them? Her gut twisted with anticipation. This was a moment of reckoning, a threshold both daunting and exhilarating. As moments flowed into each other, shifting from laughter to silence, she knew they would soon confront the depths of fear surrounding their past. A confrontation fraught with risks that could redefine both their futures. Tommy's voice broke through. "What if I can't bear to face the hardest parts?" There was vulnerability there, raw and unadorned, piercing through the reassuring atmosphere. "Then we fight together," Sarah replied, conviction threading through her words. "But we cannot shy away from any of it. Remember how we found joy? The darkness is part of our story too. Only together can we shift our narratives." She watched as he grappled with the truth she presented. His hesitation receded slightly, replaced with a burgeoning acknowledgement of her steady hopefulness. But just as that recognition bloomed between them, the woman's next story cast a veil of unease over their moment. A name surfaced, one that echoed with troubling resonance. It was a name from their past, one that had marked their shared history in ways both painful and unresolved. Tommy's expression darkened, the flicker of resolve extinguished by the weight of buried truths returning to the surface. "What if this all unravels?" he whispered, fear creeping into his voice. The charged silence hung like a storm cloud above them, a jarring reminder that sometimes confronting the past did not lend itself to tidy resolutions. The real journey awaited them just beyond the welcoming glow of shared memories, where shadows danced ready to emerge. And as the stories unfolded, Sarah knew they were only beginning to skim the surface of what lay below, a turbulence that could drown them or lead them to the shores of self-love and acceptance. What would emerge as they delved deeper into those agonizing corners? Would Tommy find the courage to confront the very essence of who he had been? She felt the tension crackle between them, threatening to reshape everything she thought she understood about their connection. The time had come to confront what remained unspoken, to face the very demons they had evaded for far too long. The air thickened with an unshakable tension as equal parts curiosity and dread coursed through Sarah. Tommy's expression shifted, revealing a tumult of emotions, pain, nostalgia, and perhaps a flicker of rage, all battling for dominance. She could almost see the wheels turning in his mind, searching for answers, or maybe more importantly, for the courage to face what had been left unsaid for too long. "Who is he, Tommy?" Sarah prodded gently, her voice a soft anchor against the turmoil swirling around them. The question hung heavy, laden with implications and unrealized fears. His brow furrowed deeply, a shadow that shouldn't have been cast over my life. He paused, the words clinging to his throat like a forgotten song. He was a friend, a brother in a way, but he was taken away. All I know is I should have done something. Tommy's gaze momentarily drifted, lost in memory, and Sarah felt an overwhelming urge to reach out and somehow ease that burden. "What happened to him?" she asked, hoping to steer him gently into the storm of remembrance. "There was an accident, an unjust one. When they took him, it felt like they took a part of me too." His voice cracked, each syllable unearthing a piece of history that had lain buried for years. "I thought I had processed it, but it's woven so tightly into everything else. Maybe if I had fought harder." "Maybe you couldn't have," she interjected, desperate to shield him from self-recrimination. You were just a kid. Social systems don't always allow us to rescue those we care about." A flash of anger crossed Tommy's face, slicing through the sorrow. "But isn't that the point?" he challenged, eyes narrowing fiercely. "That we find the strength to fight. Why didn't I?" The wall he erected was palpable, cloaking his vulnerability in a shroud of defensive indignation. Sarah sensed how close he was teetering on the edge. This moment teetered on the brink of brilliance or catastrophe. "What if you stop questioning why and focus on what you can do now?" she suggested, balancing her empathy with a call to action. "You're not that boy anymore. You have the strength and perspective to reclaim that memory." Suddenly, the tension morphed into an uncomfortable challenge, igniting Tommy's thoughts into a fervor. And what if by confronting him, that part of me, I unravel everything? What if I no longer recognize who I am? "Then we unravel together," she said firmly, willing her voice to remain steady. "This process will shape you, not erase who you are. Doesn't it make sense to face him when you now have the wisdom to understand?" Tommy's breathing quickened. She could see the fight in him blooming, confusion bubbling beneath the surface. He was teetering not just on the verge of confronting his past, but on the edge of self-discovery. "What if the truth changes what I know about my family?" he pondered, the ramifications almost too great for him to behold. "It might," Sarah admitted. "But sometimes redefining our past frees us. It can also bring clarity. Would you rather stay shackled in the shadows of regrets?" His eyes met hers, a surging tide of vulnerability washing over him. As the minutes trickled away, a new resolve flickered within his chest. It was the glimmer of strength beginning to emerge from the wreckage they were navigating. "I want to know him. I need to. But how? Where do I start?" "Let's begin with understanding what you feel, not just about him, but about yourself. Each story leads us to a piece of the puzzle. We'll explore those corners of your memory together." Sarah's heartbeat ramped up. They were wading into uncharted waters. She sensed this journey could either bind them closer or unravel the very fabric of their connection. Yet she couldn't shy away from helping him unlock this critical chapter. But even as she steered him onwards, uncertainty flickered in her mind. Would uncovering Tommy's truth help him embrace his identity, or would it expose wounds they were both ill-prepared to face? As she observed the tide turn in Tommy's mind, the specter of shadows still loomed, threatening to undo them. With the past beckoning, haunting yet mesmerizing, they stood at the cusp of revelation, unaware of how profound these unearthing moments would prove. Together, they were edging towards his truth. But just beneath that truth, darkness awaited, an ancient sorrow that could easily consume them both. Would they summon enough strength to confront it? Or would they once again find themselves fleeing from their own narratives? With each heartbeat, the stories waited to unfold, an intimate battle that could lead to their liberation or bind them in means they could scarcely imagine. The tension clutched at Sarah's chest, urging them onward. The time to face the past and all its ramifications had come. Would it rise to meet them, or would they falter under its weight? As the moments passed in suffocating silence, Tommy breathed deeply, processing the labyrinth of emotions. Sarah watched him, questioning the path their conversation had carved. It felt as though they stood at the edge of a precipice, both wanting to leap while fearing the depth below. This point of confrontation was not just about finding the boy who had been so crucial to Tommy's childhood. It was about delving deeper into Tommy's own existence. "Let's talk about the boy you lost," Sarah prompted, her voice low and unwavering, a soothing guide through the turbulent waters. Tommy clenched his fists, an involuntary response to pain that lay dormant for years. "He represented hope, maybe even a chance at my own redemption. In some twisted way, he was my light. The words were heavy, stained with longing. But he's also a reminder of everything I didn't do, every moment I didn't stand up, every time I turned away. With each revelation, a new facet of Tommy emerged, shedding light on the man he was becoming. This introspection didn't just illuminate his past, it exposed the gaping chasms that filled his present. The shame, the regret, both were Sisyphean weights that had molded him into a man hesitant to fully engage with his surroundings or allow anyone in. Redemption comes from the choices we make today, not just yesterday, Sarah countered, her fierce determination ringing clear like a bell in the night. You've grown, Tommy. You've learned to fight in other ways. His gaze bore into hers with an intensity she had seldom encountered. There was a flicker of resolve igniting within him, but it was quickly engulfed by confusion. What if I can't confront that past? What if it destroys everything I've built? Then you have to ask yourself, what will you lose by not confronting it? She challenged. Is living in fear of that boy's memory worth shackling yourself to the regrets? You deserve to uncover the layers of your life. Tommy stepped back as if struck. The unexpected ferocity of her words pierced through his self-imposed knot of constraints. What if I don't recognize myself when the dust settles? Then it's a new version of you coming to light, Sarah replied. A stronger version, one shaped by the experiences and choices you're willing to embrace. The weight of this notion hung between them. This was more than a simple reflection on past loss. This was the confrontation of identity. Tommy was on the brink of a profound awakening, one where his own understanding could shift paradigm. What do I do? He questioned, his voice hoarse as he silently acknowledged the truth she laid bare. Let's unravel it together, one thread at a time, she encouraged, sensing his inner storm. It was a collective effort, bridging the gap between grief and understanding. Together, they could explore this history, piece by piece, transforming the narrative from loss to a foundation for growth. Tommy took a slow breath, the timeline of memories unfurling in front of him like a tattered map. Each memory and scattered thought begged for examination, but a part of him still recoiled at digging too deep. But what if it's worse than I imagine? It might be, Sarah acknowledged, her tone steady and sincere. But it could also be enlightening. The scars we bear can inform who we become while still allowing us to redefine ourselves. His thoughts raced as he began to see a path illuminated by Sarah's emotional intelligence, enough to stem the tides of doubt crashing against his resolve. Excitement mingled with trepidation in his chest as he began to fathom the possibilities. I want to know him. I need to uncover the impact he had on my life so I can finally let him, us, go. Each word felt like a promise, a conscious decision to embrace change rather than evade it. Good, Sarah smiled. Warmth radiated from her like a lighthouse in a storm. We'll take it step by step, starting today. It's time to face the shadows. They cannot hold power over us unless we allow them. Tommy nodded. He was stepping into the unknown, a choice so monumental it frightened him. But there was an undeniable thirst for answers, a yearning to reclaim the parts of himself he had sacrificed on the altar of denial. Yet, just as a spark ignited hope within him, the undercurrents of unease began to swirl ominously. Memories he had long stifled flared in his mind, fragments he had not been ready to confront. Would they truly elicit the clarity he sought, or would they reveal a deeper darkness lurking beneath the surface? As he and Sarah prepared to weave through the delicate tapestry of his history, the question loomed: were they ready for what lay beneath? The secrets tangled in the corners of his mind beckoned them both forward into the somber depths of his past, daring them to unveil a new truth. The heaviness in the air thickened as Sarah sensed Tommy teetering on the edge of confrontation and vulnerability. They were about to unearth buried memories. The prospect incited both anxiety and exhilaration within her. "What do you miss the most about him?" Sarah asked gently, hoping to guide Tommy deeper into reflection, to probe the heart of his nostalgia. Tommy's gaze shifted to the ground, lost in thought. "His laughter. I guess it's always been the sound of hope for me. He made the hard days bearable." There was a softness in his voice that revealed a tenderness he rarely allowed to surface. "When he was taken away, it felt like the last light in my life dimmed." Sarah felt a pang of empathy for him. "It sounds like he was a part of you, a part you've turned away from. What if we could explore those memories together, see how they've shaped who you are today?" Tommy looked up, and in that moment, Sarah recognized a flicker of longing amidst the uncertainty. "I've always felt like I needed to shut him out, like holding on to those memories kept me trapped in the past." "But letting go doesn't mean forgetting," she reassured him. "It can mean honoring what was while stepping towards what is become. You deserve to carry forward's memories without them weighing you down." "I guess I'm scared of what I'll find," he admitted, words tinged with raw honesty. "Fear is natural, Tommy," she nodded, acknowledging that trepidation was a veil most wore when faced with hidden truths. "But it's also an invitation to grow. Ask yourself what you will gain by taking this journey with me." Tommy's face visibly shifted, contemplation knitting his features together. "Maybe I need to love my past rather than hide from it." The shift in his perspective ignited a spark of hope in Sarah's heart. She breathed a deeper breath, keenly aware of how monumental that decision was in the landscape of their conversation. Letting go of fear can illuminate the strength gained from that laughter, the resilience born from the pain. If we discover it together, we may expose not just ghosts, but light where you least expect it. Moments turned into whispers of understanding between them as they continued to bridge the chasms history had carved. The memories lingered just beyond the fog, beckoning to be given voice. But with each realization bore an equal measure of challenge. The shadows of their past would have their say, and neither could emerge from it unscathed. "Okay," Tommy inhaled deeply, "let's do this together." As they stood on the threshold of the past, every fiber of Sarah's being echoed an affirmation of their choices to journey ahead. They stepped closer to the photographs, embodiments of simpler times entangled with complexity. The laughter, the loss, the dreams, they were all pieces of a puzzle just waiting for someone to reclaim them. Yet, as Sarah placed her hand on Tommy's shoulder, an instinctual worry crept over her. Was she pushing him towards discovery or entrenching him in a well of repressed feelings? Would this journey crack the last remnants of his carefully curated identity or shape it anew? Her thoughts spiraled as they faced the first photograph together. It was an image of simpler times, children before life's burdens applied their pressure, carefree, curious. In that moment, Sarah understood how their confronting these intertwined histories wouldn't merely yield answers, it stood to reshape them entirely. "Let's remember all of it." Tommy's voice broke through her contemplation, grounding her to the present. No filters, just the truth. Was she prepared to share her truths alongside his? In that instant, the promise of growth shimmered like light through clouds of uncertainty. They were embarking on a journey not just through memories, but also through the vulnerability of discovery, shedding the binds of their collective past while embracing the wide expanse of possibilities that lay ahead. As they stepped cautiously forward into the unknown, at that pivotal crossroads, Sarah felt exhilarated, not only by the chance to explore Tommy's past, but by the transformative power of confronting their own selves. It was time to seek clarity, one memory at a time, carving pathways to healing forged through young laughter and long silenced cries. Together, they readied themselves to delve into the hidden crevices of history, knowing they were setting the stage for mutual evolution. And with each meticulous step forward, Sarah was determined to usher in a new chapter, not just for Tommy, but for herself. It was time to confront what lay ahead, to embrace growth woven from the remnants of their past. As they stepped cautiously forward into the unknown, at that pivotal crossroads, Sarah felt exhilarated, not only by the chance to explore Tommy's past, but by the transformative power of confronting their own selves. It was time to seek clarity, one memory at a time, carving pathways to healing forged through young laughter and long silenced cries. Together, they readied themselves to delve into the hidden crevices of history, knowing they were setting the stage for mutual evolution. And with each meticulous step forward, Sarah was determined to usher in a new chapter, not just for Tommy, but for herself. It was time to confront what lay ahead, to embrace growth woven from the remnants of their past. As they entered that sacred space of recollection, Sarah's heart resonated with purpose. The journey held the promise not only of healing wounds, but also of uncovering the authenticity they both sought. Would they find the strength to embrace the truth that awaited? Only time would tell. But as they turned towards their shared unveiling, they held on firmly to the hope that something profound lay just at the edge of discovery. Their decision to step towards the truth rewrote the narrative, standing as testaments of who they were together and independently. In this pivotal moment, they breathed the intent to forge ahead, beckoning a brighter future stoked by the flames of their past. Now, more than ever, connection and understanding were their greatest allies. And just like that, the door to healing creaked open, finally presenting them with the chance to reclaim what had been lost. Are you ready to embrace your own journey of self-discovery? Don't miss out on more transformative narratives. Subscribe immediately to the channel so you won't miss exclusive emotional stories. Leave a like now to fuel the algorithm and help support our shared growth journey. Comment below with your reactions and insights on this ending. And don't wait even one more second to share this compelling story with at least 5 friends who need a reminder of the power that comes from confronting the past.